Arrows, am I right? Hello, I am Keanu, and I am back again with another Legacy character video. And this one is an exciting one for sure, because the character I'm discussing today is going to be making her live-action debut appearance in the new Disney Plus show Hawkeye. And that character is none other than Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop is an incredibly fun character that I can't wait to talk to you guys about. I even got dressed up for the occasion, and totally not dressed like this as an attempt to be the next Hawkeye or anything. So knowing me, unless you don't then maybe subscribe, I love Legacy characters, and that is no exception for Kate Bishop. She is great in the comics, from her origin in Young Avengers to being a street-level hero with Clint Barton, and all the way to when she led the West Coast Avengers. I know a lot of people are going to be new to her, so I am beyond excited to share some of her history with all of you. I'll be going into detail about how she took up the mantle of Hawkeye, just since I gotta talk about how a Legacy character gets their mantle, but then afterwards, I'll talk about some must-read Kate Bishop stories to show what she's done as her time as Hawkeye without spoiling too much. To start Kate Bishop's journey, we must go to the 2005 run of Young Avengers written by Alan Heinberg. For some context, the Young Avengers are a team consisting of Patriot, Iron Lad, Hulkling, and Asgardian that formed after the events of Avengers Disassembled. In the first issue, the Young Avengers go to St. Peter's Cathedral where the attendants of Kate Bishop's sister's wedding are being held hostage. While the newly formed team work together to stop the situation, which went pretty terribly might I add, Kate holds her own after being directly taken hostage, showing that she isn't just some helpless civilian. For some more context, years prior, Kate was assaulted in Central Park, and afterwards, this caused Kate to take up some advanced combat training. After the situation has been somewhat handled, Kate meets Cassie Lang, the daughter of then-deceased Scott Lang, who is looking to join the Young Avengers. Kate joins her to go to Avengers Mansion to find the team with hopes to join them, but the team just tries to get them to go home. Cassie, who really just wants to get her deceased father's gear, is obviously upset by this and ends up growing very, very tall. But everything calms down after Captain America, Iron Man, Jessica Jones, and Iron Lad show up. Alright, time for more context again. The three heroes are actually here to shut down the team's operations, but Iron Lad actually revealed to them that he is a younger version of Kang the Conqueror, and came to the past to avoid becoming his future self. He ended up finding the remnants of the Vision and activated a failsafe program within Vision to find the young heroes to form the next generation of Avengers. Got that? Alright, so after things settle down, the three heroes tell the Young Avengers to shut down their operation and end up locking them in a training facility so they can call their parents and disband the team. But before they can do so, Kang the Conqueror shows up to bring Iron Lad back to the future to inevitably live up to his destiny of becoming a conqueror. Kate, who had gotten separated from the group, went back to the Young Avengers and told them about Kang's attack. Afterwards, Kate dons her first ever uniform, being a combination of Mockingbird's mask and battle staves, Swordsman's, sword, and Hawkeye's bow. Oh yeah, I totally forgot to mention that Clint was also killed during Avengers Disassembled. Yeah, heroes die a lot in comic books. After Kang is defeated and Iron Lad goes back to the future, Cap and Iron Man still tell the Young Avengers to disband, but instead, Kate takes them to an abandoned warehouse that belonged to her father's company, Bishop Publishing, to be their official lair and to continue the Young Avengers, with her and Cassie now being official members of the team. Later on, at the end of the original run of the series, after the team stops a potential war between the Kree and the Skrulls, Captain America still wants them to stop operating, but Kate instead stands up for the team and tells him that they're not going to stop doing what's right, and if maybe he had trained the team, none of the bad things that had happened to them might have happened. Sometime afterwards, Jessica Jones explains to Kate that the only Avenger to ever stand up to Cap was Hawkeye himself, and gives Kate Clint's bow and a note that reads, "For Hawkeye," showing us that Cap gave Kate that codename to carry on the mantle of Hawkeye. Look, all I'm saying is I really don't think I need to stand up to Captain America. I'm already wearing purple, just give me a chance. So that was the official origin of Kate Bishop and how she took up the mantle of Hawkeye. I know it was a lot, but I couldn't have done a video about Kate without mentioning how she took up the Hawkeye mantle. But now let's move on to what she was up to after the original Young Avengers series. In Young Avengers Presents number 6, Kate ends up encountering a now alive Clint Barton, it's comics What Did You Expect, and he is now using the mantle of Ronin, which if you remember was the same mantle he was using in Avengers Endgame. Long story short, Kate lost her bow and her codename of Hawkeye to Clint after he made a bet with her that he could shoot an impossible shot with the bow that was way inferior to hers, and he ended up winning, which was really to just prove a point to her that no matter how impossible the odds, always take the shot. Later, she ends up sneaking into the base of the Secret Avengers to reclaim the bow, and while Clint notices her presence, she ultimately gains his blessing due to the fact that she is willing to do whatever is necessary to lead her team, and he lets her keep the bow and carry on the legacy of Hawkeye. Alright, now that I've talked about how Kate took up the Hawkeye mantle, let's talk about what Kate's been up to ever since, starting with one of my favorite comic book runs of all time, Matt Fraction and David Aja's Hawkeye Hawkeye run from 2012. In my opinion, this comic is one of the best comics released during the 2010s, and I won't go too much into the plot because I don't want to spoil the run, but please, whether you're a fan of Kate or Clint, or if you really like the new Disney Plus series that is taking a lot of inspiration from this run, please go give it a read. That being said, this comic is pretty significant to Kate Bishop's history, as it is the comic that truly paired up Clint and Kate in a mentor/student relationship, with them both actively using the Hawkeye mantle. In the series, which takes place after Avengers vs. X-Men, Clint and Kate focus on being street-level heroes, which is definitely a change of pace for them, considering that when working with the Avengers and the Young Avengers, they would always deal with some sort of end-of-the-world threat. It's also during this run that Kate would meet one of her most recurring villains, Madame Mask. They first encountered each other when Kate tied up Madame Mask and disguised herself as her to buy a tape at a black market auction that showed Clint assassinating a dictator, which basically would have made him the most wanted man in the world. It's also way deeper than just that, but like I said, I don't want to give away too much from the series. However, the real Madame Mask is discovered and Kate is caught, but before anything bad can happen to her, Clint comes to the rescue. It's after this that Madame Mask becomes hell-bent on getting revenge on Kate Bishop. A few issues later, Kate is fed up with Clint's behavior and leaves for the West Coast, where she is cut off from her father's money and becomes a hero for hire. During these adventures in the back half of the run on Hawkeye, she not only encounters and shuts down Madame Mask's criminal organization, but she also discovers her dad's part in it. Knowing this, she vows to make him pay and then returns to New York to help Clint at the end of the series. Clint Barton and Kate Bishop continue to team up in the series All New Hawkeye, written by Jeff Lemire, in which the series gives some background on Kate's childhood. One example being when she was being held for ransom for her dad's money, she was saved by the Avengers. This was the moment that Kate had actually first witnessed Hawkeye. It was inspired by the fact that he was just a normal person and started to look up to him. This series also showed Clint and Kate at odds, this time over a group of powerful kids called Project Communion, in which they disagreed on how to handle them. After it is all settled, however, Kate still thinks of Clint as her hero, but wants to go solo for a bit. A couple of years later, and after the events of the second Marvel Civil War, we get Kate Bishop's first ever solo series written by Kelly Thompson. This series is also super fun and is personally a must-read for any fan, new or old, of Kate Bishop. This explores Kate's life back in Los Angeles, where she sets up her own detective agency, Hawkeye Investigations, where she goes on more fun adventures with the new team to help her out. In this series, she once again has to deal with Madame Mask trying to get revenge on Kate in some pretty unique ways, and there are some huge mysteries and reveals surrounding her mother. I won't go any further than that plot-wise because I think it's just better to check out this series for yourself, but please do because it is worth it 100%. The last series I want to mention is West Coast Avengers, also written by Kelly Thompson, which is basically a continuation of Kate's solo series. The team consists of both Hawkeyes, Gwenpool, America Chavez, Quentin Quire, and Fuse, who is Kate's boyfriend, Johnny Watts. There were some really fun moments in this series, such as Brodok, getting funds through a reality show, more Madame Mask, and the introduction of Jeff the Landshark, who is the best character ever introduced in the history of anything. I do not want to hear it. This series was way too short-lived, as it was only 10 issues, and personally, I would have loved to see more out of this team. And that sums up some of Kate Bishop's history as Hawkeye in comic books. It was honestly so much fun going back through some of Kate's history, as she is one of my all-time favorite legacy characters. As I was writing the script, I noticed that I used the word fun a lot to describe some of the stories that Kate Bishop was in, but that's just because she is a very lovable character, and that her comics are an absolute blast to read. So if you have some favorite Kate Bishop moments, share it down below in the comments. The last thing I want to add is that on the same day that the Disney Plus series is being released, being November 24th, there is a brand new Kate Bishop solo series coming out, so definitely go pick that up because I know I'm going to. So, any word on the whole next Hawkeye thing? Hey everyone, Keanu here. I just want to thank you for checking out the video. This video was an absolute blast to make, and it was really fun going back and reading some of Kate Bishop's stories. So if you want to see me talk about more legacy characters, maybe drop down below which one you want to hear me talk about. As always, thank you so much for the support. Remember to stay awesome, go read some comic books, and have a great day.